Hi guys, it's Carly. We're back again, week of summer Sunday school. I am happy to see that you guys have been getting on, maybe not now, but getting on as we go and listening to our story as we go through Judges. So this week, just as our previous weeks, we are talking about Judges. We talked about who are the judges. We've gone through the first three judges in Judges chapter 3, Othniel, Ehud, Shamgar. This week we're looking at Judges 4 and 5, which focus on the one and only female judge in the book of Judges, Deborah. Now, something we're going to see throughout the story is Deborah is not as directly influencing the change of power in our story. Previously, Othniel and Ehud lead armies to defeat kings and people who are oppressing the Israelites. Today, Deborah is in a different position, but still a position that, as a judge, is guiding and leading Israelites and the people towards God at every step of the way. So, let's get into it. This week, we're going to start in Judges chapter 4, and we're going to be going back and forth between chapter 4 and chapter 5, because chapter 5 of Judges is called the Song of Deborah. And it really is this victory song of what happens that retells the story in a more musical way. So we're going to be referencing that more so than reading through it, because it is similar to the same story of chapter 4 of Judges, just in a different form. So let's start with Deborah. Why do we need Deborah? Because similar to what we learned last week, the Israelites do evil in the eyes of the Lord. First line, first thing in this chapter. Again, the Israelites did evil in the eyes of the Lord. False gods, not defeating the Canaanites. Who knows what it is this time, but they didn't follow their promises to God that they've made. So when we look at chapter 4 verses 2 and 3. So the Lord sold them into the hands of Jabin, king of Canaan, who reigned in Hazor. Sisera, the commander of his army, was based at Harosheth Hagoyim, because he had 900 chariots fitted with iron and had cruelly oppressed the Israelites for 20 years. They cried to the Lord for help. So, as opposed to our previous chapter, we're looking at not just one, but two leaders that we are needing to be removed for the Israelites to get out of the hands of the oppressed. So not only is there King Jabin of Canaan, but we also have his commander of his army, Sisera. And Sisera is actually going to be our key oppressor, our key character in our story today, because Sisera is the one who cruelly oppresses these Israelites for 20 years, commanding the army. So, where is Deborah during this time? Deborah is a prophetess. She actually holds court in the hill country of Ephraim. So, very similar to, or somewhat similar to nowadays court. She holds court where Israelites go to her for their disputes to be decided. Very similar concept to that of judges in our modern day courts. So that's what she does in her life. But our story about Deborah as a judge starts with her sending for Barak, son of Abinoam. And that's in verse 6. So she sends for Barak and said to him, "The Lord, the God of Israel, commands you, go, take with you 10,000 men of Naphtali and Zebulun to lead them to Mount Tabor. I will lead Sisera, the commander of Jabin's army, with his chariots and his troops to the Kishon River, and give him into your hands." So, for our first mentioning of the Lord, it's not Deborah who's giving Barak this opportunity to remove the oppressed from remove the oppressors of the Israelites. But she's reminding him that the Lord is giving him this opportunity to defeat Sisera, a cruel oppressor of the Israelites, and give them the freedom that they need to live more than survive. But something that happens throughout the Bible, Barak questions God's choice. So it's not that Barak doesn't believe in the Lord or follow what the Lord says, but he said to Deborah, "If you go with me, I will go. But if you don't go with me, I won't go." So instead of Barak leading the army to Mount Tabor, and then Deborah bringing Sisera into the hands of Barak and his army, Barak wants Deborah with him in this Mount Tabor with the army. So he's trying to change the Lord's plans and have Deborah with him, guiding him, hands-on information. But that's not what the Lord wants. And Deborah lets him know this. So she doesn't deny him, doesn't say, "That's not the Lord's plan, you're not allowed to do that." Doesn't work. She says, "Certainly I will go with you." The Lord can change. The Lord has this plan. And the plan will still work with Deborah going, but plans have changed now. In verse 9, "Certainly I will go with you," said Deborah, "but because of the course you are taking, the honor will not be yours, for the Lord will deliver Sisera into the hands of a woman." So Deborah went with Barak to Kadesh. So now Barak loses this honor of defeating Sisera. And she predicts this even before Barak and the army start. But, like I said, Deborah's not going to be the one to defeat this. So we have to continue. So, Barak goes and summons men from Zebulun and Naphtali. 10,000 men are up under his command. Now, when we look at the Song of Deborah, we actually hear, what type of men are coming. So some came from Ephraim, whose roots were in Amalek. Benjamin was with the people who followed you. From Machir, captains came down. From Zebulun, those who bear a commander's staff. The princes of Ishkar were with Deborah. Yes, Ishkar was with Barak, sent under his command into the valley. In the districts of Rebun, there was much searching of heart. Verses in Judges 5:14 and 15, we see who's coming from Zebulun, from Naphtali, from the regions as they're going to Mount Tabor. And they gather these 10,000 men. Now, we're talking 10,000 men. This is 10 times the amount of chariots that Sisera is known to have. He's known to have 900 chariots and men. Now, we don't know how many men he has, but we know he has 900 chariots. So, we're looking at like a decent-sized army now on Mount Tabor. So, what happens? Well, to get 10,000 men on Mount Tabor, word spread. And Heber the Kenite, who actually is a man who is an ally to King Jabin, lets Sisera know that Barak, the son of Abduin, has gone up to Mount Tabor. So Sisera now knows of this army being gathered at Mount Tabor, which is not like a far distance off from where he is. So Sisera summons from Harosheth Hagoyim, where he's located, to the Kishon River all of his men and his 900 chariots fitted with iron. So all of his army is now going to the Kishon River, which Deborah has already said was where she was going to lead Sisera for Barak to defeat him. So what the Lord has said, what the Lord told Deborah to tell Barak, is coming true. Barak's got his army. Sisera is going to the Kishon River. So where is this woman to defeat? Well, Deborah says to Barak, after they hear Sisera is at the Kishon River, "Go, this is the day the Lord has given Sisera into your hands. Has not the Lord gone ahead of you?" Again, she hasn't predicted this. The Lord has come to Deborah to tell Barak, the Lord is with them. The Lord is guiding Barak and his army, giving them this opportunity. She says, "Barak, go. What are you waiting for? The Lord is here. The Lord is ahead of you. The Lord is with you. Lead your army." So Barak goes down from Mount Tabor with 10,000 men following him. And as Barak advances, as it says in verse 15, at Barak's advance, the Lord routed Sisera and all his chariots and army by the sword. And Sisera got down from his chariot and fled on foot. So the Lord guided Sisera's army into the hands of Barak's men, and they defeated the army. But Sisera has now fled. Now Barak is in pursuit with the chariots and armies as far as Harosheth Hagoyim, which is where Sisera's troops, the rest of his troops, may be. And all of his troops fall, not one man left. So they're completely demolished, except for Sisera. Now, Barak hasn't gone Sisera yet because he's not the one to get the honor of defeating him. So what happens? Well, Sisera, meanwhile, while his troops are being defeated, has fled on foot to the tent of Jael, the wife of Heber the Canaanite, who was the one who originally told Sisera of the army, because they're allies to the Jabin, king of Hazor and king of the Canaanites, and they're an alliance. So Jael goes out and meets Sisera and invites him in, tells him, "Don't be afraid." She takes him in, gives him food, gives him drink. He orders her, if someone comes, don't tell them I'm here. But in verse 21, but Jael, Heber's wife, picks up a tent peg and a hammer, and quietly, while he lays fast asleep, exhausted, she drives the peg into his temple, into the ground, and he dies. So, as Deborah predicted, the honor of killing Sisera goes now to those who she predicted, a woman, Jael, who actually is the wife of one of the allies. Someone nobody probably predicted would be the one to defeat Sisera. And she gets this honor. And this honor actually, in the Song of Deborah in chapter 5, Deborah and Barak sing the song about from verse 24 through 29. Just a song entirely this entire part of the song is just for Jael's honor of killing him, giving him water, giving him milk, giving him food, and defeating him with the tent peg. So she gets this honor that Barak cannot claim. So when Barak comes in pursuit, Jael goes out to meet him and shows him what happened. So on that day, after defeating Sisera's army, God has now subdued Jabin, king of Canaan, before the Israelites. And at the hand of the Israelites, they pressed harder and harder against Jabin, king of Canaan, until they destroyed them. And now they're at this level of peace because their oppressors are not there anymore, or at least these ones aren't. And then we get to chapter 5, the Song of Deborah, where on that day, with this defeat done, Deborah and Barak, son of Abdon, sang the Song of Deborah, that we've talked about, that we've got pieces of now. The song that discusses what happened before this. Alliance that I want you to think about is verse 7 and 8. Villagers in Israel would not fight. They held back until I, Deborah, arose. Until I arose, a mother in Israel. God chose new leaders when war came to the city gates, but not a shield or a spear was seen among the 40,000 in Israel. And we're back to the gathering of the people, and it retells the story, but takes the time to give honor to the Lord multiple times, and give honor to Jael, who was guided to fight, instead of Barak, who just led the army. But this entire 2 chapters, it's consistent that Deborah, in her song, in her actions, is focusing on allowing the Lord to be this focus. So Deborah doesn't directly defeat the king or Sisera in her actions like Othniel and Ehud, and physically give the Israelites peace for these years. But she leads this army, she leads the court, and helps the Israelites get this peace for 40 years, as it says at the end of chapter 5. Through this battle, through this telling of and guiding Barak in the Lord's ways and the Lord's promise to him. So that's the story of Deborah. And think about, you might be, now we aren't judges we're not these judges who are leading the Israelites in war against people who are in the land that they've been promised. That's not where we are right now. But think about what type of person you are. Are you more is the Lord leading you like Othniel to be the direct leader of the story, to guide people directly in the ways that you're needed, to change that opportunity and change the eyes of the Lord? Or are you more a person of Deborah, who changes the ways of people, not physically by defeating those who are oppressing someone, but by guiding those who can and are created as these leaders to lead, giving them the knowledge and the proof of the Lord that they need to feel confident in their leading. As we talk about leading, think over this week about where you stand, but also take the time to, again, I'm going to back up to these songs that I'm picking out. There's a song by Jamie Grace, You Lead. I don't know of a Deborah in my life. A Deborah like this Deborah, who is leading, who is guiding the leaders in such a way. But we have a leader. We've been given a leader who's shown us the right way, shown us what we need to do. Jesus. And take the time to listen to Jamie Grace's song, You Lead. A great line, you lead, I follow. The Lord, Jesus has led. They're leading us in this path. We just need to follow that path and go with it. So, that's the story of Deborah. Think on it. Really, I guess I'm quoting Mimi here. Think on it. Really vibe with it. And then comment. And let me know what you think. We're going to have our other videos here if you haven't seen them, as well as our playlist. Check out Jamie Grace's song. It's really good. It really connects to this story. And then subscribe so that you guys stay up to date on this Sunday school thing. I hope to see you guys next week. I'm going to be out of town. I'll try to get on. I don't know. If it's not me, it might be someone else, but you guys are going to have a great time next week. You get to discuss the first part of our story of Gideon. So I will see you all soon. I hope you guys have a great weekend. Bye.